Democracy bụ ike dịrị onye ọbụla. Democracy bụ uche ọha bụ ihe ga-eme. Ọ bụghị ihe dị irọ ofu onye akpara ya rie. Ọ bụghị ofu onye mee uche ya. Ọchịchị Nigeria yiri nga agwọloro ibe ya. Agwọloro ibe ya. Ọ na-enwe ọdụ abụọ. Ọkụkọ bere na ngige. Ngige na-egwu anụ nwa ọkụkọ nọ na-egwu. Agada gbachie ụzọ gị na onye nwere okwu. Agada gbachie ụzọ chọrọ ime onwe ka chi. O ji nwata n'ala ji onwe. Agaghị emeri onye Jehova nọnyere. Agbanwe uwe lọghachi n'oche echiche. Ndị agbanweru uwe agbanwe omume ha lọghachila. Ndị agbanweru uwe agbanwe omume ga-agba ha si na ọ bụ naanị gbanwe. Ga-agba ha si na ọ bụ naanị gbanwe ọgọdọ. Demokrasi yiri ọchịchị anyị abụghị ndị ọma ya. All dialogue bụ demokrasi, ọ bụghị dictatorship. Man will bury himself alone. Only Chakwari where his one hand must appear above ground level. Democrats abunda niba wagado. Agwaloribea ewo nanambara. Agwaloribea onwere ọdabụọ. Ọkụkọ bere na ngige na-egwu anụ ọkụkọ nọ na-egwu ibe mmemme. Ma agaghị emeri onye Jehova dị eruzi. Ike agwụla onye Chineke nyere amara. Demokrasi bụ ike dịrị onye ọbụla. Demokrasi bụ uche ọha bụ ihe ga-eme. Ọ bụghị ihe dịrị ofu onye akpara ya rie. Ọ bụghị ofu onye mee uche ya. Demokrasi n'ebe ọ bịara Nigeria adara ya kụọ isi ọbụbụ. Tribalism bụ onye bụrụ ụzọ mmanya ka soja kụọ isi ọbụbụ.
Cherry. You are welcome to Collins Human Treasury of Excellent Knowledge. Today being Sunday, 11th of April 2021, you are highly welcome. I greet you on my behalf from the city of Valencia, my base, and I greet you most especially in the name of the universal Lord, Savior, and Messiah, Jesus Christ. And once again, I'm happy to meet with you today. I can cite you Okelue Osita. Then it was about 4 people, but the names of the rest of the people have not appeared on the screen. However, my humble regard, my warm regard to all of you for coming. As you can see on the screen, the topic is UCHE MEFOR'S resemblance of reality over Biafra-Nigeria upheaval. UCHE MEFOR'S resemblance of reality. There is something UCHE MEFOR has just done that resembles a reality. It resembles a reality, but time will tell whether it is actually a reality or a hypocrisy or a compromise or actually a resemblance of reality. Maybe reality with ulterior motive or with good motive. Time will tell. With time, we'll know exactly what is unfolding at this moment. As I made a video a few days ago concerning Owaswike's interview with the BBC Igbo, and it is a similar video. It is a similar case with UCHE MEFOR, and in that video, I made a statement saying that barely all of the Biafra saboteurs, the Biafra leading saboteurs, that all of them actually know the right thing they should do, but they just decided to do the wrong thing as a result of their selfish interest, as a result of their envy, jealousy, pride, arrogance, or whatever the case may be. But I can guarantee you that those frontline saboteurs in Biafra land actually know the right thing they should do, but have decided to be doing the wrong thing. As we see Owaswike seemingly to be real at this time, now it is UCHE MEFOR, and I made mention of his name in that previous video, and it was to my utmost surprise to come across a video from YouTube containing an interview from BBC Igbo Pidgin. From BBC Pidgin. From BBC Pidgin, but all is about BBC. BBC placed in Biafra land, and now BBC Pidgin placed against we the Biafrans, placed against all of the supposedly indigenous Nigeria, which comprise we the Biafran, the Arwas, and the Oduduwas. So that is the mission of that BBC Broadcasting Corporation. BBC Broadcasting Corporation is actually a colonial corporation, as I repeatedly say. I have no regret for that, and I did not change my word. I owe nobody apology for saying it, and it is now obvious to many. Even the BBC themselves have accepted, the BBC workers have accepted that they are actually established for the interest of the colonists and not actually for the well-being of the indigenous people. So, as a result of that interview, because of the source of the interview and the seemingly reality of UCHE MEFOR in that interview are the two things that compel me to come online at this time to communicate with you. So I will play the video. It is a long video. I will play the video patiently and gradually be interjecting for analysis until the end of that video, so that as usual we have an ample comprehension from the content of the video, rather than limiting our understanding and our insights based just only on the direct interview from the BBC Pidgin to Mazi UCHE MEFOR, and from my own statement and from this platform, some people who may not have access to that particular video will now have access to that particular video, and thereafter it will be uploaded in this platform where people can visit anytime, any day, and from anywhere to review and to remember, because what I am doing here is for education and for documentation for recent and for consequent generations of Biafra and entire humanity. May God bless you for coming as I'm about to begin without further delay. And once again, the time from Valencia City right now is just a minute to 4 p.m. Just a minute to 4 o'clock in the evening. A minute to 16 o'clock. Good evening from Valencia City. Good night, good afternoon, or good morning, depending on where you are domiciled, where you are listening from, your location at this time, and when you will be coming across this video. Those that will be joining us later, and those who may not join us until the end of the program, but whenever and wherever they come across this video to listen to it, I salute all of you once again. So this is the video I am talking about. The video about the interview. This is the video. This is the video. This is the video. The video containing a recent interview. Let me minimize it once again to check the date. This interview took place on 8th, which is 3 days ago. Today is Sunday. It took place, this interview took place on Thursday. Interview from BBC Pidgin to UCHE MEFOR.
Pidgin. Today we've been bringing you a series of interview in the last couple of days, and this concern what's been happen for the southeast Nigeria, and we know say a lot of it happen in recent time. Today we're going to talk to Mr. Uche from MEFOR. In the one person would say he don't be part of the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra myself before, and he later joined the indigenous people of Biafra, the proscribed IPOB by the federal government of Nigeria.
Did you hear this lady calling we the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, as proscribed Biafra agitators by the Nigerian government? And what I want you to understand is that this lady is not actually here for any good, and she is not here to help the matter. Rather, he is here to target and attacks and to unleash attacks, to orchestrate attacks on IPOB. That is the motive of this interview by BBC and by BBC Pidgin, most especially. Formerly it was BBC, but it was weekend, now BBC Pidgin with UCHE MEFOR. It is all about BBC. And this lady, as you see, is one of their agents. Any worker in that BBC is an agent of the colonial of the British colonizers, and everything done here is an effort to indict IPOB and to authenticate and to falsely, that is to falsify the authentication of the allegation laid on with the IPOB of being responsible for the Owerri prison break, and also indicting us to be the cause of the problems, the upheaval going on all over Nigeria wide, when we are not. And actually, we are the freedom fighters of the people, the frontline liberators of the people, the frontline liberators of the indigenous people of Biafra, the indigenous people of Oduduwa, the indigenous people of Arewa, against the Fulani community all over Africa.
Mr. Okafor, good evening.
Right, good evening from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, say you find time to join us for BBC Pidgin this time. Thank you very much. In November 2020, you resigned as Deputy Director of the Proscribed IPO.
Of the Proscribed, according to the lady.
About the issues that got to do with Igbo nationalisms, which support the creation of an independent state of Biafra. Why so?
Because, first of all, it's not right that I resigned in the date you were talking about.
I told you that UCHE MEFOR here speaks a resemblance of reality. UCHE MEFOR from the beginning of this interview to the end of this interview sound realistic. But is he truly real at this time or not? First of all, he has accepted that he made a mistake to resign as the deputy leader of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, in November last year, 2020. That is the first truth of UCHE MEFOR here.
But that is not the issue for the moment. The point is that the issue of Biafra is in Nigeria. It is an innate kind of feeling, in the sense that our people were subjected to all manner of inhumane and degrading treatment, crime against humanity, genocide by the Nigerian state. And in the aftermath of that genocidal orgy of violence directed against the people of Biafra, since the 1950s, I must say, but of course, which culminated in the fight for survival between 1967 and 1970, the hatred directed against the people of Biafra since that time has not ended. Even though the war officially ended in 1970, the issues that brought the war in the first place are still being repackaged till date and being directed against the people of Biafra. So it is an issue of monumental decades of injustice, suppression, oppression, subjugation, discrimination, crime against humanity, genocide. And for us, the present generation, our forefathers, our brothers and sisters fought in the 1960s, they were subdued. And there is a saying that injustice and oppression breeds insurrection and opposition. And so this is the situation where we are today. The issues that led to the war are still being repackaged in so many ways, social, politically, religiously, and otherwise. And so we are not going to keep quiet. If they fought against our forefathers, against our uncles, against our fathers, to suppress us, even in the face of those injustices, we are not going to keep quiet. What you are seeing today is anger, is indignation that has been suppressed for so long. And so we are justified in doing what we are doing. Biafra must be restored. It doesn't matter how long it takes, because millions of people have been
subjugated to this slavery. Millions of lives have been lost, and there is no justice as we speak. Nobody has been held accountable. All the war criminals who perpetrated those crime against the people of Biafra are still roaming the street today, and they are having stranglehold as we speak. So injustice, as long as it remains and directed against the people of Biafra, and especially this present generation, cannot be swept under the carpet. And so we're not going to stop until Biafra is restored. Thank you very much.
So you feel say waiting with the witness now for the Southwest be something.
MEFOR'S statement, his last statement about the injustice and about the unsettlements in the British dungeon as a result of this injustice remind me of my previous statement in one of my videos which I made, and in that video I said that peace does not exist where justice does not exist, because justice is the foundation of peace. All about this interview is about a search for peace. That should be the main reason. But the problem is that the interviewer is compromised. The interviewer is not actually a peacemaker. The interviewer is a troublemaker. She brought UCHE MEFOR to this interview, or however, whether it is UCHE MEFOR who invited her, I cannot rightly say. But this lady's interview is about trying to beguile UCHE MEFOR, trying to insert words into UCHE MEFOR'S mouth to speak, words he will speak, which they will use to hold him, which they will hold against him, and to use it against the IPOB, who are the engine room of the Biafra freedom movement. So I am here using it as a criteria to affirm and as a testimony time also that UCHE MEFOR has also justified what I have said, and it is true. Peace does not exist where justice does not exist, because justice is the foundation of peace. Peace can never be stabilized anywhere outside of justice. It must be on top of justice. And this lady here may not actually understand. These are paid agents to keep on progressing this upheaval in guise of trying to seek peace. And after this video, I will make another video by the grace of God today.
If we say we have the call for the state of Biafra, do you think?
Just like I said before, this is pidgin, right? Where you get injustice, where you get suppression, where you get crime against humanity, where you get subsistent and institutionalized discrimination, crime against humanity, violations of human rights of a particular group of people for over decades. It is a fundamental crime against humanity, and so it doesn't matter how we go about getting Biafra this time around, because it appears that the Nigerian state is not being fair to us. There is no law and order, there is no rule of law as we speak. There is selective treatment of people of Biafra, albeit in a negative and highly discriminatory manner, while others are being favorably. And so when there is injustice, like I said, we don't begin to ask the victims how they are going to react. And so We are starting doing something in this direction, believing, of course, consciously and strongly as well, and courageously, that Biafra will be restored in London. It doesn't matter how we are going about, but we must as well organize that, and by the special grace of God, this organization of Biafrans will restore Biafra. Thank you.
Okay, make I have to say, you did concern or say you worried about the series of coordinated attack we say and then they carry out on security agencies and federal institutions in the southwest. You did concern or they worry you?
Right. If Nigeria has been a society where there is law and order, where there is a rule of law, where there is justice, equity, and fairness, I would be very much concerned. Of course, as a human being and somebody who believes in maintenance of law and order, I am concerned about violence. But if you look at the causes of all this violence, the causes of all this corruption, it is going back to what I have said as a result of monumental decades of injustice, subjugation, slavery, and servitude to which the people of Biafra have been subjected. They suppressed our fathers, they suppressed our uncles, and they forced us to be reintegrated into the Nigerian state, albeit in theory. But today, all those things that led to the war, where the world genocide in human history after the Jewish Holocaust was committed, that's still being repackaged socially, politically, economically, and religiously and otherwise against the people of Biafra. And so, as long as this injustice persists, you don't, ask people how they're going to react. I mean, the people. However, as a people who believe in the rule of law and the maintenance of law and order, we urge our people to organize us and conduct ourselves in a more civil manner. But again, if the state, if you look at it from another perspective, we have been law-abiding, we have been doing everything we're doing according to established extant laws, even in Nigeria and in Biafra. But again, there are people who are not keeping to the law. These people are criminals. When you commit crime, you become a criminal. When you go against the law, you become an outlaw. And so the people from northern part of Nigeria, especially the Fulanis, who are having a strong hold on the Nigerian political power today, are of course not doing it in good faith. They protect their own people, they arm them, they support them, even those in the military. They go about giving them protection, and they continue to kill our people. And nobody is there to speak for us, because to them, we are conquered people. And so, if this continues, where there is no appetite on the part of those in power to apply equity and fairness and justice to all, then the people will have to react, especially those who are dealing with the lives of the gifted, trampled upon, victimized. The first group of people within the Nigerian state who are supposed to be complaining are the Biafrans, but they are making us to be victims. I mean, they're making us to be the perpetrators, whereby the perpetrators are now being regarded as victims. We have been treated so unfairly. We have been subjugated to all manner of slavery and servitude, and people, conscious people around the world are, of course, in the know of it. You talk about IPOB in the last few years. A lot of injustices have been meted up to the people of Biafra under the platform of IPOB and under the different groups who Biafra like Master, and nobody is actually out there, protect our interests or to make sure that justice is done. The right to self-determination is a human right, and as such, we are not going to back down. what we are doing is manual.
Okay, make I quickly cast your mind back to wetin happen in Owerri, Imo State capital on Monday, where we get unknown men attack police headquarters and also a correctional facility, and they free about over 1,000 inmates. When they say them key people with them don't conflict, say them be criminals, and these unknown gunmen attack this correctional.
Do you hear the hypocrisy of this young lady? The people where they don't condemn as criminals, who condemn them? With which law? Who is a criminal? Then what does the law say? What is the procedures to judge the people with fact and figure that they actually committed the crime? And this lady is not talking about the justice, but she is talking about peace, of which she knows that she is compromised and she is actually a bad agent. So, according to her statement, he is here trying to insert lies into UCHE MEFOR'S mouth to speak and to condemn those who released the prisoners in Owerri. That is the motive of this lady's statement, why she will keep on speaking. And through UCHE MEFOR'S response, UCHE MEFOR stands upright. He stands upright in this interview. He never allowed himself to be beguiled by this lady, because among the prisoners, even if there are people who actually committed crimes among them, what about the innocent people who were incarcerated in that prison and without any justice being meted against them, and their treatment being contrary to the Nigerian Constitution of imprisoned people? For example, if the Constitution says when people are brought to the prison and they have like 24 hours or 74 hours, which is 3 days, to appear in the court, and their stay in the prison exceeds the 3 days, it means both all of the police officers have committed crime of their overstay, of keeping them excessively. Themselves should be queried for that, and nobody talks about that, including this lady. And this lady knows all these things that I am saying, and this was the reason UCHE MEFOR tried to interrogate her, but she never permitted herself to respond to any question thrown at her by Mazi UCHE MEFOR as a result of her hypocrisy. All is aimed to indict the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and to indict the rest of Biafran citizens, most especially, and using it as a mantra to justify their mayhem over the Biafrans, because there is a high target of executing mayhem over we the Biafrans. So this is the secret for this interview. And this lady and the rest of them who work for BBC, they are all hired agents. They are interested in the money they get from BBC. And most especially, this BBC is established by the Nigerian politicians. From Igbo politicians, now it has been extended to BBC Pidgin. There is the hand of the Nigerian politicians, the Fulani Caliphate, the frontline saboteurs in Biafra land, like Edwin Clark, Nyawodo, the rest of them, all those frontline saboteurs, they are part and parcel of the establishment of BBC. Let that be known to you from now, if you have not known that.
Possibility and freedom. I think say this will affect the society, the Southeast as a region, with about with over 1,000 inmates. Will be
talking as if she cares for the well-being of the Southeast, only trying to beguile UCHE MEFOR to speak against those who released the prisoners.
Who be say they don't convince say that the criminals out on the streets. You think say this go fit help the whole call for the Biafra nation?
Like I said before, if Nigeria is a country or a state where there is law and order and where there is everybody will be very, very mindful of how they conduct. Regardless of the lawlessness in different places in Nigeria, the people of Biafra have been conducting themselves in a more respectful and law-abiding manner. But those that claim to be fellow citizens in Nigeria, the Northern Hausa Wani, this time around specifically the Fulani, they think that they own Nigeria, and you are a witness to it. You are a journalist. You know what is going on. And the question you're asking me, I'm very sure you know the answer. But for the sake of emphasis, I want to read that the attacks on government facility under normal circumstances is to be condemned. But this is a situation,
under normal circumstances should be condemned, but it is not under normal circumstance. It is on the circumstance of injustice against the inmates.
At this particular point in time, where the government you're talking about, the state you're talking about, the Nigerian state you're talking about now being controlled by the Fulani, and now the states, they are now sponsoring terrorism, violence against ordinary people, including youth. For instance, you are hearing about bandits, you are hearing about Boko Haram, you are hearing about Fulani headsmen. They are everywhere, and I'm very sure you know what the issues are. They are also in Biafra. Most of them have been aided by the Nigerian security forces to commit the crime. I'm saying it because most of the crimes that have been committed by Fulani headsmen, most of the crimes that have been committed by these bandits are being swept under the carpet, are being watered down. I give you an example. What happened in Ebonyi State in the last few days, if not up to a week now, is an eye-opener. The one that happened in Ningo was another one, but let us just look at what happened recently. It has been alleged that Fulani headsmen went and slaughtered our people in Ebonyi State like animals. And the governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umai, made an open confession that he knew and they know those who are behind this. But he decided not to take action. The Nigerian state, the federal government of Nigeria, did not also come out proactively to go against these people that have committed this heinous crime. And these are against our people. Things that have never happened in our land is now happening. And the question is, who are responsible? If these people are so daring, if these people are so courageous to be maiming and hanging and destroying lives and properties of the Biafran people in our own land as well, what has given them that courage? Who are supporting them? Does it mean that we don't have government? And then it boils down to the fact that the state governors and state House of Assembly members must provide answers to all these security breaches, to all these monumental and colossal loss of life in Biafra. And then the Ebonyi state government had just come out, indicted himself, indicted all the members of political class in Biafra. And he was willing to protect, to seek for dialogue, where you know that criminals have committed this crime, where you know that these are murderers, these are terrorists, these are, hardened criminals that have invaded the land and killed our people, his own fellow citizens amongst them. He begins to be free. And he was comfortable saying that they have to do something about it. They are waiting for the federal government that are sponsoring them to go and do something. And as we speak today, all those things are being swept under. We are being told that something is going to happen. And on the other hand, you now have a situation whereby the people of Biafra, the youths in Biafra land, who have done nothing, some of them are picked on the road, and because they think that they believe, because they say that they are Biafra, they suspect them to be Biafra, they are locked up and without trial. And so, if people are angry because of all this, and those people who are getting out of anger and indignation went to the prison to release those who are in prison. I mean, I don't know who I agree, whereby our governors and elected representatives are protecting Fulani herdsmen who are killing us, and at the same time, on the other hand, locking our people. There is no justice. There is no.
So are you saying that perhaps those who this unknown government release say they no be criminals? Is that what we think they talk?
Criminals in what sense? Can you give me a definition of criminal? Make it just
if they convict them, which means say they don't convict them, send them to prison. I'm saying that.
Then the hypocrisy here is that she's talking about the police convincing those they suspect to be criminal, but without telling us which way of conviction, which way of convicting them. Is it with facts and figure? Is it according to the law of justice? Or is it by intimidation, humiliation, and forcibly imposing allegations on them, then jailing them? Which way possible and upright should the police convince them? This is what this lady is hiding from her statement, because she is actually a purchased agent against IPOB, against Biafra, and against all who are maltreated in that British dungeon known as Nigeria. So I don't know who actually arranged this interview, but all I know is that UCHE sounds realistic in this interview, and this lady hypocritic. Yet I am still suspecting the reality of UCHE. Does it mean UCHE had repented? Actually, what is playing out? Last time it was Wazirike, now it is UCHE. Who among the saboteurs will be the next person? I don't know yet, but let us keep listening.
They don't do one kind thing. We make them to be criminals. So if they prison, it means say they don't convince them.
Okay, I now understand you. So how about Fulani herdsmen? How about
No. I won't make you answer that question. Say you think.
Do you now understand what I said earlier? This lady dodges all the questions thrown at her by UCHE, because this is an interrogative question, a very intelligent question, of which if she tries to respond to this question, she must lie, and her lies will be exposed to the public. Rather, she prefers dodging the question. There is nothing wrong in UCHE for asking her question, a counter question to any question in this regard. She is trying to insert, to persuade UCHE to accept that actually those who were released from the prison were all they were all convicted criminals, when they are not actually what this lady claims to be, and there is no proof for that. And accepting that will mean that those who have released them have actually committed crime against the whole people. And that is how this lady, with the rest of the BBC agents and the rest of the colonial Nigerian brokers will be projecting those people. And now there is an allegation that those responsible are the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, of which we are not. And even if they claim we are responsible for the release of the prisoners, what is their proof? What actually proof? Then why didn't they say it is Fulani herdsmen? Why didn't they say it is Mietiala? Why didn't they say it is Boko Haram who released them? Why should they just point directly to IPOB? What is playing out? It is setting another strategy to indict with indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, to hit hard on us so that we will stop this movement for emancipating ourselves and the rest of the indigenous Biafrans and the indigenous Oduduwas and the indigenous Arwas, including the Fulanis who are ignorantly under the bondage of the colonizers, whom are the front line of the stooges against the integrity of Africa and, to be precise, against we the Biafrans.
The people will be saying that they prison and the people where this unknown them where them free. It is that they not be criminal. They're supposed to stay that prison in the first instance.
You think that they be criminal?
Criminal or not does not arise here. Where injustice is, in the Nigerian state, and
they don't confess them. Not be why they get prison with that.
So that is, according to this lady wants to convince the people to believe that anyone thrown into prison is a convicted criminal. This is what this lady is just here telling us. He's not talking about the law of judgment. She is not talking about law of judging the criminal, law of procedures to prosecute the suspect, then interrogate the person to know. She's not talking about investigation and results, facts, and figures provided through a proper investigation. She's not talking about that. All she's trying to do is to make people believe that anyone thrown into prison is a convicted criminal. And this is the system we have been running all this while. And more than 90% of the indigenous people were ignorant until this recent time of this online education and the practical education in different ways that people have now begun to be informed. If it is about 15-20 years ago that this kind of a thing happened, whatever this lady says is what the people will absorb and handle it as so, because they were absolutely ignorant. Now the gullible has begun to receive sense, so the tone of the song has actually begun to change, and will continue to change the narrative, will continue to change the tone of the song, and will continue to expose all these media saboteurs, all these hired agents to the politicians. These are the people, these people you see, like this lady, they are worse than the politicians we are talking about, because they actually understand that the masses are suffering from the hand of the politicians. Rather, they take side with the politicians for their selfish interests. And if you trace the background of this lady, you go to find out that she must be related to one of these people responsible for this terrorism against the indigenous people of Biafra. She is a beneficiary into that Nigeria system. Because throughout this interview, this lady never at any time, even with one comment, condemned the evil committed by the Nigerian police, Nigerian army, Fulani terrorists of all units, Fulani Mietiala, Fulani herdsmen, Fulani Boko Haram, Fulani Nigerian army, Fulani Nigerian police, Fulani terrorist government of Nigeria. All of the terrorist organization perpetrating this mayhem upon the indigenous people. This lady, throughout this interview, never for any reason and with any comment condemn their evil acts.
What I'm saying to you now, that where injustice prevails in the society and where there is impunity everywhere, you don't ask the victims who are the receiving end how they are going to react. The question, I painted a scenario now where Fulani headsmen in Ebonyi killed, slaughtered human beings in a more despicable and horrible manner. And the sitting governor was there pleading for peace. The sitting governor confessed to knowing those who were behind him. But he decided not to do anything and was waiting for federal government of Nigeria. But if it is about the people of Biafra, the youths in Biafra, they will round them up and put them in prison or even kill them. So you need to understand the enormity of the problem here. I have said that if Nigeria is a place where there is rule of law and there is sincerity on the part of the government to make sure that the rule of law prevails and that there is equity and justice, then I will be giving serious consideration to that. However, you need to understand that right from time, I am one person that believes in law and order. I believe in equity and fairness. I believe in following rules. So many of us believe in that. But those who are winners, who are custodian of that rule of law, are the people messing up everything, putting everything upside down. And then it just in process continues to be betrayed. And then the victims have been trapped, and there is no other way of their being exonerated because they are being, rounded up without any application of rule of fairness and justice in their case. And then rounded up and put somewhere, some of them killed. And then the criminals that you see, the prima facie evidence, in most cases have been established. The king, the Fulani headmen, they are in our land. And they are left, they are protected. And then people are being, hounded down and all that. In that sense, I can't condemn those who have gone to release prison. Because in the first
you mean you don't feel condemned the attack?
And that this is exactly the target of this lady, to convince UCHE MEFOR to condemn those who released the prisoners, even though their identities are not actually realized at the moment. However, they are not wrong, because it is as a result of injustice. This lady now will come with logic, claiming that some of the prisoners were actually convicted criminals. But what about the innocents who were jailed together with them? Doesn't she understand that God can, just because of one innocent person, and release over 10,000 guilty prisoners, even if it is only one innocent person, of which I know there are more than 80 or more than 90% of innocent people among the prisoners. But even if it is only one innocent person, God can intervene and release all of the prisoners because of just one person. People do not understand. And God can use anybody as his instrument to execute any purpose he has decided to execute. And so in no way are those who release the prisoners are wrong. In no way are they wrong. Nothing makes them wrong. The people who are wrong is the Nigerian police, who incarcerated innocent people, whom this saboteur lady, I don't know her name, I have been calling her name, I don't know her name, whom this saboteur lady tried to make people believe that those innocent prisoners were actually guilty, and trying to impose the guilt on those innocent prisoners and those who release them, while actually the people who are guilty are the police who imprison them. Even if they have suspected them, there should be investigation, and they should follow the law. They should follow rule of law. If the rule of law says when a suspect is in prison, is incarcerated, perhaps in less than within 1 week at most, the person should be taken to court if there is no evidence, or should be let go free. Then that is how it should be. So them working contrary to the rules of law means that they are the real criminals, and these people are to be jailed. It should be the police and not those in the prison, and not anyone who released them. After all, even nobody paid those who released them. They did just a voluntary work. It is not easy. People should be applauding them rather than this kind of nonsense gushing out from these useless ladies' mouths. So I am not here to attack UCHE MEFOR'S. I still suspect him. He remains a suspect to me, even though he sounds realistic. I am here just to bring to us what is unfolding at this moment and where we are at the present time.
On the prison and the police headquarters.
You are not getting what I'm saying. Where there is law, I am very sure that you believe that there is law in Nigeria and Biafra. And then, where that law is being applied differently to different people, in this case, the law is being applied favorably to Fulani headsmen and the bandits, while it is being applied unfavorably to Biafrans. And then those who are supposed to enforce the law are providing security and protection to the criminal. What do you want the victims to do? That is what I want you to be looking at now.
And this is a question the lady should have answered, but she dodged the question.
Nigeria is already a failed state. We have been crying for long, for equity and fairness to prevail. So if people in anger, if people out of indignation, out of long feeling of suppression and oppression, go about liberating themselves, you don't have to go, nobody has control over it. And I want to say something here. We have said things on air, we have written things, we have granted interviews, we have called on the Southeast government and Southside governments to live up to their responsibility, especially in the aspect of protection of lives and property. We also even went ahead to give them example of the government, what they did. Because the Southeast governors will always give an example that even though that they are called chief security officers of state, that it is the Inspector General of Police, that it is the presidency that controls the security. But that is not true to an extent, because there is some form of symbiotic relationship between the state and the federal government. Otherwise, why will the governors have securities at times? Why would the state have some level of authority to form their own security outfit? So there is no essentiality in all it. The Yoruba politicians came together, passed a law, established a regional security. On the other hand, the Southeast governors are hypocritically telling people that they don't have such power to do that. And then Inspector General of Police waited it. And in the process, lives are being wasted. People are being killed. Lawlessness is being perpetrated. And then, just recently, like I told you, Fulani headmen invaded Biafra. They killed, they maimed, they destroyed life, slaughtered human beings like animals. I'm very sure that you are aware of it. And a sitting governor that we expect to pretend, to stand his ground and make sure that the perpetrators that brought to justice was there speaking with both sides of his mouth. And then you expect ordinary citizens of the state or the region to keep quiet over the whole thing. It's not fair, no? They know they're fair.
In all of this, make I ask you, so what do you feel, what do you think say PP alternative options will be available to the people of the region, to say drive home their demand aside the lawlessness, the attack on police stations, on federal government institutions and all of that? What do you think say should be another alternative we then fit use to drive home?
This lady now is psyching him to consider restructure, of which we are not interested about. We, the Biafrans, we, the indigenous people of Biafra, are not interested in restructure or in new Nigeria. We are not interested. So she is psyching UCHE to reason over a consideration regarding restructure. Now let us hear from UCHE. What is his own response?
Their demand.
You mean the demand for Biafra restoration?
Yes, apart from violence.
We don't subscribe to violence as a matter of fact, but we subscribe to self-defense. When our lives are threatened, when we have the right under the law, both domestic and international, that is one. The second aspect, when genocide has been committed against a group of people, and there is no appetite or indication of the and as a result, the people are also being subjugated to even further heinous crimes and subjugation and oppression and injustice. The only thing left for those people is to seek for their separate existence, and that is what we have sought, and that is what we are demanding. The only way forward is for the people of Biafra to be in their home. And if the Nigerian state does not accede to the demand, it's just a matter of time. What you are seeing now is just a tip of the iceberg. Because if the injustice continues, the Nigerian state will implode. It's as simple as that. And I'm very sure that if you look at what is happening consensuously, you will agree with me that our people have been treated so fair. We are being treated like animals. Biafran lives don't matter anymore as far as Nigeria is concerned. And so let these people not use the pretense of state or state sovereignty and all to continue to subjugate a cross-section of. As a matter of fact, the Nigerian sovereignty has been called into question because the indigenous peoples in different parts of Nigeria have been killed, maimed, suppressed. And top on the list that here, when a state, in this case Nigeria, let me take it from the lawful or legal aspect of it, when a state, as a result of her territorial claim to her sovereignty, territorial integrity, continues to violate the rights of a cross-section of a population, continue to sustain human rights abuses, continue to kill, to maim, and suppress, and to prevent the people even to exercise their right to internal self-determination, like allowing them to, freely participate in the affairs that affect them as a people. And this has been sustained and entrenched in the system. Then time will come when that state will have no right anymore to have claim to have territorial integrity. As we speak today, a lot of atrocities have been committed, a lot of injustices have been committed, people have been murdered. Nigeria is a fail-safe as we speak. So every indigenous people, including Biafra, have right to self-determination. We are not seeking it through war. We are not seeking it through violence. We are just asking that the people of Biafra are allowed through referendum to decide whether they are supposed or whether they want to still continue in the Nigerian state. As we all know, we were not consulted when Nigeria was consulted.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Okafor MEFOR. We go on a short break now because we try to fix your audio, like saying they cracked small, but we'll come back and say less than 1 minute, that's less than 59 seconds. Now, just to channel this na BBC Pidgin, don't go anywhere. Come back. Thank you. Welcome back, Mr. UCHE Okafor MEFOR. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much. Yes, I can.
Okay. Before we go on that short break, you did tell us about how you think, say, the other alternative way the people will agitated for the nation of Biafra feed use. You also mentioned the fact that what do they call them? That law favors bandits and criminal X-men. But I want to say last week the top person for the president, Gabashir, said on one live TV, say hundreds of bandits they don't arrest them and they will soon face prosecution. And say you go still talk say law they favor these bandits and the criminal X-men.
Yes, let me tell you something. You are talking as if you know the Nigeria. They talk as if you know the Nigeria. Or like say you know the thing in there. Don't mind Garubashir. Don't mind the Fulani politicians who are having a stranglehold on us. This is what they are saying every day. They have been saying this thing over and over and over again. They will want to play to the gallery. They will come for public. They fit even show you the people where they arrest. But those people when they start, they're enjoying themselves. So we are no longer going to be cowed or deceived. There is no sincerity on the part of those who are running the affairs of Nigeria. So Garubashir is playing a political game. He's deceiving those gullible that he thinks that he will deceive, but not us anymore. Because starting from Boko Haram, there are a number of Boko Haram terrorists arrested. But for them to present themselves as if they are complying with the requirements of international law and I-60 mandate, they try to bring those people to court. When they bring them to court, they will exonerate them or even integrate them into the society. Haven't you seen where an army general was talking about bringing back Boko Haram terrorists into the society? And these are the people who are educated and they go about many people. And I will still go back to what we are talking about. It's very fresh in our memory. And it's still raining. I mean, that is the top story now. An unfortunate one indeed. The killings in Ebonyi. If Garubashir is sincere to himself, let him show us the people that killed our people in Ebonyi. Even when governor of Ebonyi State said that he knew or he knows those who were behind him. Have you seen anybody arrested? Have you seen anybody brought to court? Have you seen anybody brought to justice? So these are the same old stories that we've been hearing. What we are saying here is that this injustice has been perpetrated not once, not twice. It has been entrenched. It is now part of the Nigerian state. And so the people are angry. The people of Biafra are justified to sometimes react angrily and try to extricate themselves from an unjust system. And take this, as a mark of emphasis. Where there is injustice and it is written and entrenched in the system, then you cannot rule out uprising in order for those who are being oppressed to explicate themselves and seek for justice. That is what is happening now in Biafra. And if care is not taken, it is going to give our hands, are tied. The hands of every conscientious man and woman is tied because there is obvious heightened sense of injustice and again. So do not blame our people too much if they, go on the streets and begin to protest and do certain things. Under normal circumstances, breaking and destruction of government property is unacceptable and we condemn it entirely. It's entirely. I myself have been at the forefront of condemning these attacks on government facilities and shooting of police and all. But if you look at what is happening now, you find out that there is an orchestrated, willful, and consensual, deliberate effort on the part of the Nigerian state. And they represented the agents in police and the army to continue to shield bandits, criminals from the northern part of Nigeria, to continue to kill and maim and destroy lives. And so when we know that these things are happening and evidence are found, what do you expect our people? It is a righteous indignation. And let me also say something here. The people that went to release prisoners in Owerri prison, on record, did not kill anyone. If they went about killing police officers and killing our own people, we will go against them. But they went and released people who were being, rounded up, whether they committed anything or not, and being detained in an unjust system.
But we don't see at all. We say then key police officers in the past weeks. Are you going to respond to this? The talk say they don't keep person for weary, but they don't keep person for other police attack they know they carry out for the region in the past weeks.
Just listen to that hypocrisy. She's talking about protesters at any time killing the police and never talk about the police killing protesters. That is the hypocrisy because she is a hired agent. Listen, throughout this video, she never condemned the police act. She never condemned the Nigerian government. She never condemned the Fulani of all units. The Fulani terrorists of all units. She never condemned them throughout this interview. Keep on listening. Only trying to beguile UCHE to speak against indigenous people of Biafra. That is the essence of this interview, though I do not actually know who organized this interview.
Somebody like me has said, and a number of people have also said, that the people who are angry about the injustice in the system, going about killing police officers, are on the wrong side because at the end of the day, the people being killed are the people of the police officers of their crime. So if we are going out there to protect our people, that protection should be for the benefit of our people and not against them. Having said that, in the midst of injustice and people who are angry, people who are righteously, angry about what is going on, went about carrying out a particular line of action. For instance, releasing prisoners, because they felt that most of these prisoners.
There is a statement which MEFOR had made, which I oppose, I stand against, and that is, even if protesters, for any reason, will attack or kill police officers, and those police officers happen to be Biafrans, that it is not good that we should be protecting our own people. No, that is wrong. UCHE fails on that, because those police officers who are indigenous Biafrans joining the Nigerian police, being authorized by Nigerian government, knowing quite well that the protesters are right while the government and the police are wrong, they join the Nigerian police and the Nigerian government to arrest, to attack, and also to kill the protesters. So as a countermeasure, if the protesters kill them, nobody should condemn the protesters for that act, of which UCHE has just done, and he fails for that one. So that is one of the reasons this interview is a resemblance of his reality. I don't actually know the motive of UCHE behind this interview. She seemed to be realistic, but he remains a suspect to me. He remains a suspect to me. Why is he sounding so realistic like this, even though he had made some mistake? So I still suspect UCHE and his appearance of reality. I still suspect him, and that is the reason I am hereby bringing this report, so that other people will hear and listen, and will have it as a reason to query his steps anytime, any day. After this interview, what will be his next action? I cannot actually tell until he acts once again. We know whether he is serious with this realistic he is sounding in this interview or not. And then we begin to search out what are the motives behind UCHE's appearance of reality when we are not certain that he has become real or has actually repented. We are not certain.
In the prison did not do anything, or that they have overstayed their prison term, or some of them are being detained for nothing. On the other hand, the people who are being, who are very wide, who are boldly going about trying struggling human beings are being protected by the police, are protected. I mean, I can't blame them. Nobody should blame them, because they are reacting to obvious injustice in the system. And you know that. Can you tell me now that what happened in Ebonyi is justified? Can you also tell me that you have seen anybody arrested? Can you tell me?
We don't say.
The way the governor conducted himself is the right thing. Why is it?
Mr. Uche Okafor, before we don't say the vice president Yemi Osinbajo visit Ebonyi State after the attack, and they don't say they will carry out an investigation and make sure say the people where they behind the attack then punish them. I feel we're going to wait to see how this come out.
Let me now respond to you on that. Osinbajo visited Ebonyi. But for me, that visitation is not necessary, because the state government had already come out to say that he knows, or he knew the people behind it, and the crisis had been ongoing. He knows what is going on. So Osinbajo going there is just playing to the gala. Okay, since he left Ebonyi and promised that those who are behind it will be prosecuted. Why is it that they have not been prosecuted? Why is it that people have not seen them? The way they are parading Biafran youths on camera. Even BBC News was carrying the news of Biafran youth being arrested. Whether they committed any crime or not. Why is it that the same treatment is not being applied to Fulani bandits? As we speak, none of them is being, we don't even see them. They are being protected somewhere. So what I'm saying in essence is that the governor has said that he knows them. He knows those who are doing all this or who have killed our people. Why is it that they are not being put? Why is it that they have not been activated? But when we heard about the jailbreak by some unknown gunmen, the Inspector General of Police was proactive. The Imo State Governor was proactive in saying that it was IPOB, it was ESN. I don't know whether it is IPOB or ESN, I don't know, because for you to make this kind of level of architecture, you must have to have your track. If for women to take that time, are actually, and as we speak, they have not been very proactive to beyond ready. Again, everything happening now is as a result of injustice, entrenched structural and systematic injustice in the system being loop-sidedly applied to some people and being relaxed in the application to others. In this case, Fulani people are being favored and protected. They are aided by the state to continue to commit crime. But the people of Biafra who are hardworking, going about the business are being hounded down. How do you justify that, for goodness sake?
And that's why they ask, say, they worried, say that the kind of implication this whole action, this whole attack fit gets on the socio-economic life of the people, especially, and the political fortune of the Southwest in future election. Because we know, say, Yoruba people will say, where two elephants fight, now the grass, they suffer the most. What about the people of the of this state, of the region, when we say this thing they affect?
Me, it is a dire situation that we have found ourselves. And our people, eventually, the ordinary people, if this snowballs into violence, uncontrolled violence, anarchy, the people who are going to bear the brunt are the ordinary people, vulnerable people in society, even the rich as well. But I will place the blame on the doorsteps of the elected representatives in Biafra. The governors, the Southeast governors, including Southside governors, they have not done enough. They have failed the people. They should be answering this question. If there is breakdown of law and order in our region, these governors and state House of Assembly members must be blamed. They have to provide the answers and solutions. And they have it at their doorstep. They have it on their hand. The solution to this problem are before them. But most of them are playing politics. I don't know.
The solution to these problems are before them, but most of them are playing politics according to UCHE. And this is exactly what I have said in the previous video I made about Owazirike. All of these saboteurs and the tyrant, they know the right thing they should do. They deliberately decide to do the wrong thing because they are slaves under the foreign colonists. That is the bottom line of the whole truth.
Of them are clamoring for 2023 presidential election, which may not even come to be. A situation where you are selfishly pursuing your own interests over and above the collective interests of your own people. It then means that you don't have the interests of the people at hand, and that you are not in the position to protect the people. So you better get out of the way. Let people who have the interests of their own people at heart go in there and do the needful. There is nothing that prevents the Southeast governors, for instance, and even the Southside government from jointly coming up with a law passed in their various House of Assembly with reference to protection and security, a unified security system for protection of lives and property, with rules and regulations. If there have been rules and regulations, I don't think that the loophole that has been created that is now giving rise to these violence, to this insecurity would have arisen. They have not done their work, and they must live up to their responsibility or live to see the consequences that may befall everyone. These are avoidable consequences, avoidable calamity. The Southeast governors, the Southside governors must get their acts together. The state houses of assembly members in these states, in these regions, must get their acts together. If they do the white government and House of Assembly members can come together and come up with a unified security architecture or program for the protection of their own people, why wouldn't the Southeast and Southside counterparts do the same? Who is deceiving who? So if people are killed today, if people are subjected to all manner of injury and treatment, if there is no security, if there is breakdown of law and order, in other words, the governors and the state House of Assembly members must be held accountable, and they know that they have not performed. It is either that they do the right thing for the interest of the majority of our people, or they get out. That is the truth about it. So if you are saying this thing, you are talking about lawlessness, you are talking about breaking of law on the one hand. You also have to talk about those who have the responsibility of, in the first place, bringing in the law, enabling law that will regulate the activities of it. In the reasons of it, there is no law. So which law are you going to keep or adhere to?
I just want to say at the state where Mr. UCHE MEFOR'S they refer to as the southwest region of Nigeria. You say in the then they refer to as governors, the southwest the governors in the southwest region of Nigeria. Let me quickly ask you this question. Say, how best you think say federal government fit handle this wahala with the happen everywhere, especially in that region where you come from?
If you ask me, a lot of water has passed under the bridge. A lot of injustices have been done. People are now angry. It is now not the responsibility of the government to make to make reparation, to do the right thing, and to apply the law equitably and justly. Otherwise, what people are going to see in the next coming of months and even years ahead will be unimaginable, because people are angry. A lot of people have been suppressed. If you subjugate people to unimaginable, there will be a time when they are afraid of you, and when they see that there is no end in sight of your question, they will rise up. And so it goes back to what we are saying, that injustice breeds uprising. Injustice and oppression breeds uprising. That is what is happening now. And it may snowball into popular revolution. And at that point, you may not even see the state, the government we are talking about today. So the earlier these state government officials, the better the federal government of Nigeria do the right thing, the better for them. Already so many lives have been lost, and there must be reparation, there must be justice, there must be equity and fairness applied in the system. Because there are no it can't continue to regard a group of people as slaves and then others as law and order. It cannot continue. If Nigeria is to be an egalitarian society where there is rule of law, where there is equity and fairness, why is it that the law is being applied favorably to the Fulanis and then applied unfavorably to others, especially Biafra? these are the questions we need to be asking. And BBC Igbo, BBC Pidgin, BBC World are supposed to be at the forefront of propagating this all-important issue that has been bedeviling our people to the forefront. But it appears to me,
why we bring people like you when they say you voice for that region?
They had a lot of things.
Now why would they give the chance to talk? They say you be from that region. Mr. UCHE Okafor MEFOR, if you still there, I don't see you again. And if you just join us, this now BBC Pidgin, they touchlight the matter with the happen for the Southeast Nigeria and the past few months or few weeks now, and we get Mr. UCHE Okafor MEFOR on the program where we then talk about what's in the happen for the region scene in the last 40 minutes or thereabouts, and then they share with us what things say feel happen and how federal government treats solve this or menace where they happen. Mr. MEFOR, I'm not so sure you can still see us. People like say in the get network issue from end. We will go on another short break now. We'll come back we'll quickly round up this program and see when he's back. Okay, there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Okay, I just have 2 more questions, then we'll end the show and let you go.
Right, thank you very much.
Oh, all right, thank you very much. I'll give you a back. Okay, we just the join of this now BBC Pidgin. We don't come back and we don't deal on top this program with Mr. UCHE Okafor MEFOR since about on more than 45 minutes now. With the touchlight within the happen for the Southeast, and then we share with us what he think Nigerian government fit do, what he think the governor for the Southeast and the South fit do, and what he think everybody fit do together to make sure say this did not go out of hand finally. I want to ask you before that shop say if you get chance, say you feel advise Igbo leaders now and how to manage this whole thing when they become too much for the Southeast. What's your advice to be?
What bring about this kind of question, particularizing it to his advice to Igbo leaders? Why not making it Nigerian-wide? Is it an Igbo affair? Is everything happening in Nigeria an Igbo affair? Is that over a prison break just an Igbo affair? Is it no longer the Nigerian government affair? What brought about this kind of question? Intrudence. This kind of intrusion, this is an intrusive question thrown at UCHE MEFOR by this lady, trying to know what his advice will be to the Igbo leaders regarding this whole issue. Is it an Igbo affair? This question is unnecessary. However, let us listen to UCHE MEFOR's response.
My advice is it will go this way. The governors, political class in Biafra land, they suppose no say that they represent the people, not themselves. And so they're supposed to listen to the voices of the people, the wishes of the people. But they're not doing it. They know they do it. And they know they do it. Now, I want to say that all members of political class the governors, the senators, the state House of Assembly members, all of them who have political ambition, including those who are clamoring for 2023 presidential election 2023 and all. They must jettison that ambition until they attend to the wishes and aspirations of the people, the needs of the people. Our people need security, they need protection, they need to be represented. Civil servants need to be paid. They have to take seriously the welfare of their own people more than ever before. They should be able to stand in the gap for their own people and say, no, this is what our people want. They should be able to tell their Fulani counterparts who are saying that the people of Biafra, that the people of South, want a particular thing. They want.
Let me interject. Uchoka from MEFOR actually knows all these things, the right thing to do. Though he had accepted that he made a mistake to have withdrawn from IPOB, because throughout this interview, Uche MEFOR sounds just the way he used to sound when he was a proper IPOB member, until he fell out. And at this time, seeing him in this mode is a surprise to me. Though I do not actually believe in him, I still suspect him. Now, he knows that the so-called Igbo politicians and the rest of the so-called Igbo leaders, according to the question thrown at him, should take up their responsibility by caring for the well-being of the people and realizing that they are servants to the people and not slave masters to the people. Should that convince me and convince all of us to believe that Uche MEFOR has now had a return back or U-turn? With that, let me use turn back and U-turn as a slang. Is Uche MEFOR real? Has he now actually turned back to speak for the well-being of our people, as I have been expecting him to be doing, or is he still compromising? What will be his next action after this interview? Then we should watch. By their fruit, we should know them. His continuous action after this interview will make us to understand whether he was just pretending in this interview, or he has make a U-turn to begin to once again to be realistic. This we must know, starting from his next actions, from the rest of his action after this very interview which you are listening.
A more equitable deal within the system. And until we solve the part, we are not going to cooperate with you. They should be able to do that. The state House of Assembly members, the governors must come together and begin to collaborate with reference to passing favorable economic law, regional law. They should be able to pass security law. Protection for the people is paramount now. They should be able to commission inquiries into certain areas of grievance. The youths of Biafra land are not smiling, and things may go out of hand. And when it happens, nobody will be there to be found. Nobody will be there. You take an example of what happened in Imo State, for instance, in the jailbreak. The army was there, very close to that place. It was a state police headquarters that people went, including the prison that is close to that place. And for several hours, nobody came out. There was no response in terms of protection of those properties. And now there is conspiracy that it was the state that carried out the attack in order to attack the people of Biafra or the Biafran youth, all manner of things, all the indigenous, whatever. These are signs that things are not okay. These are signs that the society is being turned upside down. It is a sign that our people are not happy. The government, the state House of Assembly, members of political class must take seriously the issue that concern them. They must listen. We want Biafra. We want autonomy. We want to be independent of the Nigerian state. If there is need for us to cooperate with the Nigeria or other parts of Nigeria afterwards, so be it. But our people have been killed enough. Our people have been suffocated enough. The human rights of our people have been trampled upon enough. And this time around, it is not even by outside. It is not only by outsiders, but our own people. Our governors have they have dealt mercilessly with us. They have encouraged impunity. They have encouraged oppression. They have encouraged all manner of human rights abuses. They have opened our back door, our defense to our enemy, and they have come in, and we are now being slaughtered and handled. And so, the situation is such that there is this heightened feeling of the fact that we don't have those who are protecting, those who we are entrusting our protection in their hand are not there to protect. The governors are not protecting us, the police are not protecting us, the state House of Assembly members are not protecting. And so, the people are now at the level, at the stage of taking proactive action to protecting themselves, finding a way to protect themselves. So if the governors and those who are supposed to protect us allowing our enemies to come through the back door to kill us, then we have the right to self-defend, to defend ourselves. And in the process of doing it, you know what happened. There could be all manner of breakdown of law and so, like I said, in the midst of injustice, uprising.
Okay. Very briefly, Mr. MEFOR. I don't know if you hear me. Mr. MEFOR, because we don't get too much time for our hands again. I want to make people talk about the appointment of the acting Inspector General of Police at the near Usman Akali Baba. What do you expect going forward? Very brief.
Too little, too late. This is just another way of elongation and continuation of the killing and subjugation and maiming of our people. It is the same old wine in the same cup. Removal of a Fulani police inspector general of police, and putting another in the same thing. These people are going out the same way, the same mission, to continue to kill and destroy people.
So you don't get any expectation.
No, there is no confidence in the new inspector general.
Okay,
thank
you very much, Mr. UCHE from MEFOR. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. And just the channel, this is my BBC Pidgin. We don't come to the end of the show. My name is Jedilat Olawale. We're going to talk to Mr. UCHE from MEFOR. Will be be part of the for once in the part of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, the proscribed group by the federal government now. I think he'd be the deputy director of the proscribed IPOB then. He was. So thank you very much again, Mr. UCHE for joining us this evening. Thank you very much.
So you have seen it and you have heard it. The program has come to an end. I recognize the presence of all of you. Okelue Osita, Johnny King, Bethel, Mwadikwe. Is it Mwadike you wanted to write? Johnny King, Nze, Ezemoka, Ezofo, UCHE and Celestine, David Nwabwinye, Biafra Queen, UCHE, Ogulumbike, Uzomachigoze. I have mentioned you, David Nwabwinye. I cannot be there for Kreke, Papa Dinobodo, or Papa Dinobodo. Obinoba, Uzamachigoze, you have been mentioned. Emmanuel T. Eshin. Emmanuel T. Eshin. Emmanuel Akware, Lucky Okechukwu, and the rest of you. And on Monday, I had a primary school mate whose name was and is, let me use the regular word, is Monday, and from Enugu, and here I am seeing and Monday. So perhaps he may be that my schoolmate or another person. It was Sky Pachi Chigoze. Leo Wachineke, you're highly welcome. Far away, Ezeboa, John Obonna. May God bless you, and those whose name did not appear on the screen. My warm regard to all of you, and thank you for your patience and to listen to this program, which has just been concluded about the interview given to UCHE by BBC Pidgin, trying to lure him into condemning IPOB. However, I don't know how the interview was arranged, whether it is a means UCHE tried to use to show to IPOB that he had actually regretted his misconduct and is about to have a real-U-turn, or he is just trying to use it as a camouflage to deceive. Maybe when we relax, then they will attack. No one can actually know, and I cannot guarantee anything about UCHE MEFOR. I am here only to inform us of what is happening. UCHE MEFOR still remains a suspect to me in particular. Other people may accept him due to the realistic he seems to be in this program, but he remains a suspect to me. So I don't know how you view it. So we begin to ponder over it as events continue to unfold. We will watch his action very vehemently. His next line of actions will convey whether he is actually realistic or not. May God bless you for listening. Until you hear from me once again very soon. I am about to inquire. I don't know whether Mazinam Dekano will have his broadcast this evening. Then if I check at the time later, I may have another video. This is, let me say 5:30. If I begin and a new video by 6:30, it may last, because it will be a long one, it may last until 9 or to 10 o'clock. And if I verify that Mazinam Dekano does not have his broadcast today, then I will go on with the next video. If not, I will postpone it to tomorrow. Until you hear from me once again, I am your humble servant, Evangelist Collins Inyima.